Developing the Czar, Inspector General of Police Christian Teteyehunu arrives in Boko to commence peace talks with overlord of the Kusok traditional area as tensions there continue to rise following days of a renewed chieftaincy conflict.
Also to come, Bank of Ghana and its former governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, sued by a private citizen for exchange rate losses recorded since 2017.
A lot later, the Minister of Communication and Digital Technology as well as Innovation, Sam Nate George, is assured that the bill that seeks to address the issue of misinformation and disinformation will soon be sent to Parliament for debate and approval.
Hello there, it's News Central here on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amana.
And I am Mawina Igbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
Now, despite the award of a contract for the construction of a new bridge over the Yape River in the West Gonja district, the Ghana Highway Authority is warning of serious cracks developing on the existing bridge, posing a threat to road users, despite repair works carried out in 2017. Having outlived its 50-year lifespan, the Minister for Roads is now urging for speedy completion of the new bridge, which is currently only 7% complete.
Volta in Yape of the central Gonja district of the Savannah region of Ghana. It's one of the two bridges that we pay in Yape on a stretch that crosses the black and white Volta respectively. The bridges serve as a link for commuters, especially heavy-duty vehicles that transport goods from the southern part of the country to not only the northern part of the country but also to the Sahelian countries such as Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. Constructed in the mid-1960s, the Ghana Highway Authority in November 2017 closed down the bridge over dilapidation, a move that posed serious risk to motorists and pedestrians for major maintenance works. It was subsequently reopened to traffic on December 22, 2017, awarded in October 2024 for an entire construction of 240 meters. $180 million is being expended for 4 bridges. That's in Yape, Daboya and Nawini. Maripoma Enterprise Limited, the local contractors for the 4 bridges.
The steel beams, as you see them, had cracks. We had to remove the entire running surface and redo it. Yes, there are still some cracks developing every now and then. So this is just, we are in the residual stages of this bridge. The
Minister for Roads, Kwame Govin-Sagbo, just says the economic significance of the bridges cannot be underestimated.
He also noticed that the work pace is beginning to peak, especially the substructure work. We just want to implore the contractor, which is a wholly Ghanaian entity, $180 million for the 4, not only this one, for the 4. And we are hopeful that they will meet their deadline. One of the problems in the ministry is projects running beyond their contractual period. So we are hopeful that this one will not be one of those. It's a bridge. It's not in your interest to keep here beyond the 2 years.
The Ghana Highway Authority is warning the beams of the existing bridge is currently under serious threat.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why we decided to do the new bridge. So if there are any cracks appearing now, we will definitely take care of it. So there is no, we will have to allay the people's fear that we have made all contingency plans to make sure that the old bridge is still, we finish the new one.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Yape.
Now, the Inspector General of Police, Christian Teteyehunu, and the Police Management Board have visited Boko in the Upper East region to meet with the Boko Naba, Zugran, Adzigri, Aburago, Azoka II to hold peace talks. The visit comes after clashes between security personnel and youth of the area on Wednesday resulted in one fatality. Castro Senyala, our Upper East Region correspondent, is traveling with the IGP. Joins us with a bit more on the story. Castro, good afternoon. Talk to us about how this trip of the IGP to Boko is faring so far.
Hello, yes. I can hear you loud enough.
I'm asking that you tell us about the IGP's trip. How's it going?
Yes, so the IGP is currently in the Boko area where he's been speaking with the Boko Naba about a few issues. Firstly, he apologizes for any eventuality that has resulted in the fatalities that were recorded on Wednesday following, a clash between the police and that of the youth here. Secondly, he has assured that the police administration will work tirelessly with the Kusok traditional area to ensure that they are able to find a lasting solution to the peace. He emphasizes the need for the traditional authority to support the police in the discharge of their mandate as a state security agency. He also calls on the youth of the area to allow cool heads to prevail, as he acknowledged that once in a while, as a human institution, there will be excesses, and when that happens, it shouldn't be an issue where problems will come, but then a learning curve for all of them. He also assured the Boko Naba that should any police officer or any security officer who contravenes the code of conduct of the profession, the Boko Naba should not hesitate to let him know so that he's able to withdraw such persons who fail to be neutral or in the discharge of their duties go wrong. He says he is committed to the peace building process, and for whatever reason it is, he would always be in good talk and in contact with the Boko Naba.
Castro, we know that this trip the IGP is on is also to collect first-hand information of how the tensions have spread and renewed in the Boko area. Talk to us about where else he's going and what else he's expected to do.
Kevin, I can hardly hear you because here is quite noisy and the network isn't really stable.
What else is the IGP doing in order to be able to collect the first-hand information he wants?
Yes, so the IGP says he's going to, bring in a lot more of his intelligence officers as far as ensuring peace and gathering information ahead of time is concerned. He says that yes, he acknowledges the fact that intelligence is one of the crucial elements needed to fighting the issue that is fast becoming an issue here.
Castro, because of our challenges, we'll leave it here for now. We hope to speak to you when you are in a better position to do so. Castro Senyala is traveling with the IGP in the Boko area. But let's get a bit more on this story. Dr. Victor Doke is with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. Has joined us now for a quick chat on this. Doc, good afternoon to you. IGP's visits to the Boko area, obviously very significant. What do you envisage would do for the renewed tensions there? Hello, Doc. Doc, you're going to have to unmute so we hear you. Well, we've just been talking about the situation in Boko and the renewed clashes there, which has led to some fatalities, particularly one yesterday. But let's try Victor Doke again. Doc, I appreciate your time here on the news. But do talk to us. The IGP's visits to Boko, obviously a very significant move by the police chief. But what do you expect? How do you expect it to impact the situation there now?
Well, thank you very much. Good day to you. Can you hear me, though? Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. So the impact of the IGP's visit, from where I sit, I see it as one, he going there to boost the morale of his, his personnel, because then with regards to what has happened, you are best to ascertain or conclude that the morale of the men there, may have been somewhat demoralized. So he's going, one, to understand and get first-hand information, which he already knows, and then boost the morale of the men, and then also to sort of like assure them and plead with them to stay within the merits of their mandate and not meddle in, issues or events or activities that can bring about clashes or, events such as this again. But his main goal there, apart from what I've enumerated, is also to meet with key stakeholders there, from either side, the youth groups, and probably go to the Zebra Palace, and then also to meet the other factions, the Makusi, all with the aim of what entrenching on them or calling on them to let peace prevail, and dialogue instead of using violence, and just to preach the peace message. Ideally, that is it. But if you want to relate it to the generic conflict prevention or resolution, is not going to play any major role apart from these activities that I've aligned.
Indeed. And we see that happen already, Doc. He's visited the Boko Naba. He's still on the road with our correspondent and his entire entourage. But, Doc, for the fact that there have been renewed clashes or tensions in Boko, it would appear that we take one step back and take several backwards. What could be contributing to that?
We don't have a system or mechanism or process in place. What we have always talked about is sustained engagement. So you would realize that the last time, of course, there were clashes, curfews were renewed and enforced. What was going on with regards to engaging the two sides, and then reminding them that peace is the way to go? I think that's been our biggest challenge. Now, irrespective that we have His Eminence the King with regards to finding a solution, meeting the two sides, you're looking at how you can keep the two groups, the Kusasi and Mampusi, the youth groups especially, engaged in peace talk. And this can be done using the civil society organization and the NGOs in those areas. But it has not happened. The National Peace Council has to also be active in that aspect, so that you are tackling the issue when it comes to the eminent king doing his bit. And then on the ground, you ensure that there's activities that work, peace building, conflict prevention and management, and cohesion in that regard. But we just ignore all those things and think that the curfews are enough to stop the two sides from action. But we don't engage them. We don't preach peace on the airwaves. We don't sing peace messages. We do nothing of those sorts. And we have neglected the aspects of the grassroots committee, the Boko Inactive Peace Committee, which is supposed to be the link between all the ethnic groups in the area, especially the two actors. They aren't involved in any activities there. So at the end of the day, you see the big gap left with regards to sustained engagement. So when we talk about sustained engagement, this is what we mean. So then, if curfews are in place, you are engaging the people there. And when you engage them often, you are sure that the message will rain down on them. If they have any issues, they will use the BIPC instead of using weapons.
I see. Is that why you'd say we are seeing more brazen attacks? For instance, we know that the Member of Parliament for the area's home, Mahama Yariga's home was touched, it was vandalized and then touched subsequently. We also know that in the Pusiga area, the MP there was also attacked. And by, attack, I mean her home was also attacked in the process. Talk to us about how brazen these attacks could get if we don't nip it in the bud right now.
Well, that sends a strong message to the stakeholders, because these two MPs are stakeholders to the conflict because they're in the area. It sends the message that the youth, the youth groups in the area are fed up. They want a finality to this issue. And they stay as stakeholders who are supposed to seek their welfare and interest somewhat are not doing so. So that's the perception they have. That is why we see the attacks on these personalities in the area. Now, if we do not, as quickly as possible, assist and offer the king the necessary support to come up with a roadmap for every stakeholder to implement, we will be having these kind of attacks here and there. If we are not able to give capacity, sensitize our security personnel to respect the norms, the traditional rights and practices of an area, and they do otherwise, this is what we're going to have. So there's a lot that needs to be done now.
Very well.
The IGP is pointed, but after he leaves, what happens? That is the issue that is wrong.
After he leaves, what happens? Hopefully, some of the suggestions you've made will be put to play. Thank you so much, Dr. Victor Doke, security analyst. Let's take a listen to IGP Christian Tete Yohuno now.
I will appeal to you to talk to the youth that hope is not lost. We are ready to assist them. And so they should put down their arms and be ready to cooperate with us so that together we'll bring peace and everlasting peace to Boku. It is not deliberate that we as peacekeepers who have got international recognition will go to a place to bring peace and deliberately we would like to see people dying. We will not allow that. So we'll always work extremely hard so that we'll remain neutral. So we want to assure the Boku Namba that our men will continue to be neutral, and those elements that you feel that by the discharge of their duties, it is not making peace possible over here. I think I will have a private discussion with him later and let us know so that we can be able to bring in people who really see to the effective discharge of their duties so that peace can come to Boku.
Let's move away from Boku and the government's proposed policy to deport foreign nationals involved in illegal mining known as Galamsey sparked widespread debate. While some support the move, environmental advocates argue that all offenders, regardless of nationality, must face stringent legal consequences to deter further destruction of the country's natural resources. Stakeholders are now urging authorities to enforce the existing laws more decisively and adopt stronger measures to combat the Galamsey menace. For the latest, let's go to my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar right now, who's reporting from a key stakeholder forum in the Ashanti region. Ibrahim, many thanks for joining us as always. Talk us through this concern that is fast rising amongst these groups. What have they been saying? What are the concerns they're raising?
We had the Interior Minister saying that, well, somewhere last week, we had the Interior Minister saying that government is looking at deporting foreign nationals who are found committing some criminal activities, such as committing environmental crime, Galamsey, and also other activities. But then these environmentalists are saying, no, this is against the law, and they want such people to be punished, because if after serving their sentence, then they will be deported, that's fine. But if you bring a law saying that you just want them to be deported, then it is not deterrent enough for people to come here and with impunity destroy our water bodies and also our farmland. We do know that the talk about Galamsey has been on for a long time, yet we appear not to have been able to be successful in the fight. That's how come today they have another forum. This is not too different from the earlier forums that we've seen, but this time around they are engaging people who are residing within the mining communities and also some small-scale miners, engaging them and letting them know the impact or consequence of mining illegally on the environment and our health as well. So that's how come people who are selected from mining areas like Busumifrao Bosomchi, Mansun Kwanta, and other groups by Aroche and also the King's College landing to be able to discuss and come out with solutions to be able to end illegal mining. Earlier, I spoke to the Deputy National Director of Arosha Ghana, Darobosu, who also expressed his concern with regards to that policy.
Right.
Foreigners who are caught up in it. The galamsey we are seeing in this country, we know that most of it is because of certain financial powers or certain power people have in terms of financial capacity to buy equipment, to finance the processes, and continue with the impunity that we see. And these people are mostly the foreigners. So to say that you are going to implement the law to favor the foreigners who are really responsible, then as a country we are failing. We don't want to do the right thing. I think that we also need to ensure that as Ghanaians who have laws that we work with, we need to apply the law as it is. There shouldn't be any favoritism. There shouldn't be any fear of favor just because people of a political class, they are not prosecuted as they should.
Ibrahim, is there a course of action these NGOs are expecting to take if the government continues with this particular policy? Ibrahim, I'm asking if
this against the laws of the country.
Right. Ibrahim, I'm asking if they are seeking to take a specific course of action.
They said,
well,
exactly. They want to go the legal way, taking the legal action because they believe that this is against the laws of the state because they believe that if you come here and destroy or commit any form of criminal acts, then you have to be prosecuted before being deported. So they have that course of taking that legal action. But beyond that, they are also looking at least rewarding people who are able to go strictly according to the environmental laws and also punishing people who so that at least it will even give people to be able to do responsible mining. That is what Dr. Clement Sefa Nyako has also been sharing.
Ibrahim, thank you for those details. Let's hear from Dr. Sefa Nyako quickly.
Northern Ghana, in Ghana, that's where you have the high temperatures, and especially where we want to conduct this study in the Kansana, Nankana, East and West Districts, Nabrango and Paga. The temperatures are very high there. We are told about 10 years ago, when women have their babies, because of heat, there were special rooms where they will put these babies so that they will.
As Dr. Sefa Nyako, we spoke to my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar, and we'll bring you details of all of these and a lot more. Plus, that interesting story about a private individual suing the Bank of Ghana and the former governor for foreign rate losses, exchange rate losses. We have all of those details right after this break. And we're back here on News Central. Let's get into that story involving the Bank of Ghana and the suit, because we know the central bank and its former governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, have been sued by a private citizen for the record exchange rate losses recorded by Ghana's currency since 2017. Balbea Violet Allen, who describes herself as someone who invests in government treasury, says her purchasing power and investment suffered remarkable losses due to the cedi dropping in value from 4.26 cedis in 2017 to 15.49 cedis in 2025. Let's try and walk you through details that we know about this latest legal action filed at the Supreme Court, and then seek to provide details for you right now with respect to exactly what it is that we know. Let's try and do that for you right now. And amongst many other things of interest, and a number of you have been reacting to this particular story, and some of you sharing in the reasoning for this particular suit. But let's walk you through what exactly her arguments are. And she is a private citizen, Balbea Violet Allen. She's a retiree, a citizen of Ghana who typically invests in government treasuries. That's the ESLA Bond Energy Sector Levy Recoveries Act, that's ESLA. And amongst many things, these are the defendants: the central bank, that's the Bank of Ghana, and then Dr. Ernest Addison. They are the defendants in this particular matter. But let's try and walk you through the details of the reliefs she's actually seeking from the courts this afternoon. Amongst many other things, she wants the court to declare that the Bank of Ghana has grossly been negligent in the management of the Ghana cedi through Dr. Ernest Addison. She also makes the argument that the exchange rate losses of the plaintiff are enforceable against the Bank of Ghana and Dr. Ernest Addison. And the case she makes is that the Bank of Ghana is mandated by law for the stabilization of the Ghana cedis, and the cedi to a dollar rate was 4.26, which we told you about. As at the time the previous government was leaving, or Dr. Ernest Addison voluntarily resigned, it was hovering around 15.49 to a dollar. As at the 3rd of February 2025, when Dr. Ernest Addison proceeded on his terminal leave. She makes the argument again that Ghana's currency under Dr. Addison's watch became one of the worst performing currencies in the world. And she, amongst many other things, has suffered exchange rate losses, erosion of purchasing power, and remarkable investment capital losses. She wants, amongst many other things, arguing again that Dr. Addison failed to exercise care in his management of the currency. And so that's the argument she's put forth. And a number of you say you share in the argument she's making. Let's speak to a lawyer, Dr. John Baden. Is lawyer for the investor who sued the BOG and the former governor. Doc, I appreciate that you could speak to us. Is it not quite a tall order to suggest that the former governor should be held liable for the state of affairs which the previous government even blamed on external factors?
Well, I don't know. The central bank is being run by the governor, and he has the control to make things happen. And it's like, we actually notified the governor last year that he should make sure that the city doesn't continue tanking. And he ignored our communication. And you see that when he came into office, the exchange rate was 4.26, and as at the time he was leaving, it was way past 50. So if that is not gross negligence, what is it? You tell me.
But you've not really quite spoken to the concern here. The depreciation is one that has become a subject of intense political debate. It happens almost every time. A lot of Ghanaians are almost becoming accustomed to it. The previous government blamed that depreciation on external factors. Why do you think the BOG, the former BOG governor, should be held liable?
Oh, I don't really want to buy this external factors argument. I mean, if you are the governor and if you are the central bank mandated to give the Republic a stable currency. There are all kinds of ways to do it. And you, the manager of the currency, must find a way to make it stable. And we've been going through this since 1992. I mean, we've gone through this for far too long. And I think it's about time we bring some finality to this.
So what you're seeking?
People are losing money. These vessels are closing. I mean, it's not palatable. I mean, it's a serious matter. Really a serious matter.
Right. I'll have you walk us through the losses that your client has suffered. But are you seeking to let this case be somewhat of a deterrent going forward to future central bank governors not to toy, if that's an appropriate word, with the investment of individuals?
Please, I didn't hear it properly.
I'm asking if this case is seeking to be one that serves as a deterrent to other governors of the central bank.
I mean, yeah. Well, you know, this case could probably be our watershed moment. I mean, it would make governors now and in the future come to appreciate that they just cannot be carefree. They've got to be on the stick. They've got to make sure that they are delivering on their mandate.
But these losses you say your client has suffered, can you provide a bit more clarity to the extent?
Exchange rate losses. So I think, you know, we've stated all of that in our statement of claim. You know, the time that he was making the investments, the dollar was, you know, what did we say, like 4 point something, and now it's, you know, 15. It's just a total loss for my client. I mean, he's lost plenty money.
Your case has been filed. What are the next steps? When possibly can Ghanaians be looking forward to what would be a very interesting development in court?
What I didn't. The line is quite faint. I can't quite catch some of the things you say.
Oh,
hello.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Well, try.
Yes, I'm asking that your case has been filed. Do we know if the former BOG governor has been served and when the due date for hearing is?
Well, we are yet to discover. We are in early days yet. We are yet to discover. So I'm sure in due time you get to know, you know, the schedules.
Right then, Doc, we'll leave the conversation here. I'm sure we'll come back to you again for a bit more. That's Dr. John Baden. He's a lawyer for Madame Violet, who's, amongst many other things, sued the Bank of Ghana and then the former central bank governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, over forex exchange losses, which she says has caused her quite severe harm. You heard Dr. Baden mention that this could be a watershed moment and serve as a deterrent going forward to other central bank governors. We wait to see really what transpires in court. But Kamini, a lot of people say they share greatly in these arguments that have been put forth by Madame Violet.
Maybe they should have joined the suit. Well, there's still time for that. Now, the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, has disbursed funds under the establishing a circular economy framework for plastic sector in Ghana project for small and medium enterprises. This initiative, backed by $7 million grant from the Global Environment Facility and United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, aims at transforming the plastic sector by promoting recycling, reuse, and sustainable waste management practices in the country.
Approximately 1.1 million tons of plastic waste are generated annually across Ghana, with only about 10%, roughly 100,000 tons, recycled. The majority of the uncollected waste ends up in drains and the ocean, further contributing to environmental pollution. In response to this growing issue, the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology has presented $331,606 to 10 small and medium enterprises to collect plastic waste in their environment to reduce plastic pollution. He urged them to use the amount received for their intended purpose.
You need to use the monies for the purpose for which it was intended. And I'll take particular interest for the monitoring. I won't monitor for money. Please, use the money and use it well. But this is just a first tranche. But trust me, they won't be messy. If you are not using the money for which it was intended, don't go and ask any big man to call me, because I would insist that they take you out.
The project coordinator, Lydia Esua, emphasized that the support for the SMEs will help eliminate 13,000 tons of marine litter and 93,000 tons of plastic waste. This waste will be collected by the SMEs, creating much-needed jobs for Ghanaians.
And once we put money into collection of the plastics, we expect that it create jobs. So the project design is looking at both direct and indirect job creations, right? They also work with the waste pickers who collect the plastic waste and bring it to them before they can recycle. So if you put all these people together, we are looking at a little over 7,603 jobs.
The Strategic Partnership and Engagement Lead at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Joseph Yeboah, expressed his agency's commitment to supporting the Ghanaian government in combating waste pollution across the country. The beneficiaries, including Coliba Waste Management, Macintosh Africa and Pure Home Water, were presented with their funds for the first tranche.
Now, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel Amakofibua has promised to work with all staff under his ministry, promising a transparent system. It follows growing concerns of possible victimization of staff perceived to be loyal to the former administration. Speaking while touring some of the agencies, the minister stressed a collective effort to deal with challenges in the sector.
As part of the ministry's plan to address challenges hindering the progress of various institutions, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Emmanuel Amakofibua, met with the leadership of several agencies under his sector, starting off at the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, GIADEC. Discussions focused on GIADEC's vision to become a fully integrated aluminium industry.
We came to engage GIADEC as one of the agencies under the ministry to discuss their vision and the things that they have to do to really have a fully integrated aluminium industry. It's very, very clear that this journey is only possible if we are able to address the few hurdles. One is, how do we address the issue of the railway line so we can easily transport cheaply bauxite, and also the issue of cheaper power.
The CEO of GIADEC expressed concerns about the lack of funding for the execution of some critical projects.
One that government is needed to push us, to give us the necessary support to be able to activate the mines, to be able to get the necessary investors to do the refinery, and then to revamp VALCO.
Next, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority was visited, where resource constraints again emerged as a major issue. The minister assured them that he will work to resolve the challenges.
One of their critical problems is funding. But we are going to try to work with government, but they must also start looking internally as to what are the things that we can do to generate revenue. Government stands ready to support them.
At the Plantation Development Board, the ministry said efforts are underway to address its mounting debt of 4 million cedis.
Coming up next is By the Numbers. And today our attention is on the streets, literally. The Ministry of Transport, in collaboration with the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, has kick-started consultation process for the registering and licensing of motorbikes for commercial use, popularly called Okada. But not everyone is raving with excitement. From safety concerns to questions about regulation and job opportunities, the public has a lot to say. So today, we crunch the numbers with respect to accident data and explore the real implication of formalizing Okada. Let's first hear from the president on what the plan is for Okada business.
The Youth Development and the Interior Ministries will facilitate the training of our young people in the Okada business. in areas such as road safety regulations, financial literacy, and digital skills, as well as facilitating the acquisition of motorbikes. We will introduce electric motorcycles on a high purchase scheme to eliminate the use of petrol and make their businesses more profitable.
Well, now, President John Dramani Mahama there, but I told you that we'll be crunching the numbers when it comes to accident data and how this could, change with the Okada business or not. Mauna will do just that. What's happening?
So, a lot of conversation since this entire debate of Okada started far back as 2020, when now President Mahama announced it as part of his the NDC's 2020 campaign. What most people talk about when it comes to this entire business is the concern of road accidents, because there's the notion to tend to believe that motorbikes are involved in way more accidents and all of that, and it's part of the conversations. What we're seeking to do today is ask that question, whether or not the data supports that narrative which is out there. And we're taking all of this to the road safety data from January to June of 2024, and this is what it looks like. With respect to fatalities, we're seeing 1,237, which was up by 4.2% if you compare it to previous years. On crashes, we saw 6,653, and then injuries over 8,798. The pedestrians which were involved, that saw some decrease, 1,219 between that same period this time as compared to last year. And if we want to narrow it down to what it looked like monthly, we can tell that the month of March appeared to have the most crashes, which had 1,105. And just by way of the type of crashes as well, head-on collision amongst many others, with side swipes being the majority of them. But let's look at severity and the types of vehicles as well, which are involved a lot more in these road crashes. We've walked you through the crashes and how bad it's been like all throughout. Let's try and look at how fatal these accidents are, comparing private vehicles, commercial vehicles, motorcycles, and then other vehicles as well. And so here's what we're going to try and do. We're going to narrow it down to fatal accidents which were recorded between January and June of 2024. And interestingly, private vehicles lead in that direction, with motorcycles following second. And so we had as many as 420 fatalities involving private vehicles. When it came to motorcycles, it was 361, and then commercial vehicles followed suit. Now, when we talk about serious road accidents which involved motorcycles and the rest of the other vehicles we use for transportation, again, private vehicles led the way, followed by commercial vehicles and then motorcycles as well. And you begin to see it a bit more when we look at the data here, which seeks to paint even a more clearer picture for us in relation to what the accident is like and whether or not the concerns are valid when it comes to fatalities involving motorcycles as well. And so we see the crashes which we've spoken about, but if you look at motorcycles, to be specific, then we see that, well, as compared to the others, not so great, and the month of May seeing the most of these crashes as well. But we added the last one, which has to do with hotspots in reference to accidents in the capital, Accra. And interestingly, the Kwame Nkrumah Circle leads the way. It's the #1 hotspot of accidents in Accra between January to June of 2024, followed by the Tema Motorway and then the Legon-Medina Road. And so Accra Metro leading the way in relation to the number of accidents we see in the capital, Accra. Then there is Tema as well. Obviously, the Tema Motorway is one of the major reasons why we continue to record quite a number of accidents. Then there's the Ghana West Municipality as well in that order. In time of day, where we see these road crashes as well, you find out that a lot of them are happening between the hours of 4 to 8 p.m. That's when we're recording most of our accidents. That leads the way, and then there's 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as well. Those who make the argument that the drone rides and all of that could pose significant danger to you, but that's last in the ranking as well. And so that's what the data tells us, and it quickly has dispelled the concern amongst many other things that Okada really leads the way. But obviously, in terms of fatalities as well, it comes second to private vehicles. That's what the numbers say, but the argument will continue. We can hear now from the Acting Director General of the Road Safety Authority because of the conversations as well over age limit. He says they're working to operationalize it, and that the law, the parent law, which pegs the age at 25, will be looked at as well.
Okada has come to stay. Okada is one of the mode of transportation in this country now. You reckon that with Okada, they will send you straight to your doormat. Other modes of transport will leave you at the station. So Okada is unique in the sense that apart from just providing transportation to people, it also makes traveling very easy. Now, what government is doing is that we first want to legalize Okada, and so a committee has been put in place to review the law. Then, subsequently, or immediately following after that, there will be an amendment to the DVLA Act that will then bring down the age from 25 to say 18 or 21. The DVLA itself reckons that the 25 years is no more acceptable internationally. They say that internationally, the driving for commercial purposes, the age is either 18 or 21 internationally. So they themselves also want to amend their law to bring it down to 21 or 18.
That's Abraham Amaneba, is the Director General of the Road Safety Authority. And that's it for By the Numbers.
In other news, President John Dramani Mahama has condemned renewed clashes in Boko. Speaking at the graduation parade of the Ghana Military Academy, President Mahama reiterated government's commitment to restoring peace in the troubled enclave.
The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Boko area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfor mediation process, which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week.
President speaking on Boko. Now, the Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, is assured that the bill that seeks to address the issue of misinformation and disinformation will soon be sent to Parliament for debate and approval. He's, however, clarified that the bill does not cover criticism of the government. He spoke to Roland Walker on New Day.
We would lay this bill on misinformation and disinformation. As we speak, I have designated a team within my cybersecurity authority to focus on building digital dossiers of particular accounts and individuals who have decided to become purveyors of mis and disinformation. We're building the dossiers. We do not want to go to court or start any law enforcement action without having solid basis in law. And so, like I keep saying, be mindful what you post. And I'm not saying we're not interested, and the law will be very clear, and that's why I'm bringing it to Parliament, for Parliament to debate it and accept it and pass it. This is not a law that's going to be looking at criticism. No. I don't care how scathing the criticism is. It's a freedom of expression. But when it moves from criticism and then moves into pure disinformation, pure misinformation, peddling of fake news, altering of data and putting it out, clearly that's not a freedom. That's an abuse of a platform, and the law would work and clamp down on it. So the night is almost over. Dawn is about to break. We will enforce the law firmly and rigorously on anyone who is engaged in fake news, irrespective of your political color. Let me be quick to announce that. Irrespective of your political color, if you engage in misinformation or disinformation and the peddling of fake news, the law will deal with you.
Now, high temperatures recorded in the northern parts of the country have been identified as one of the causes of deaths among pregnant women and newborn babies, especially in the Upper East region. Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University for Development Studies, Professor Elliot Haruna Al-Hassan, expressed concerns over how temperatures in the Navrongo areas is contributing to child mortalities. Well, let's stay a bit longer in the northern part of the country. Our northern region correspondent, Christopher Mwako, is joining us for a bit more on this particular story. Christopher, good afternoon. How hot is where you are?
Yes, Kevin, I must say that it's not easy because temperatures have gone close to 40, 41 degrees Celsius, and so the whole environment is very, very hot. We are just fortunate that some 2 days ago, we recorded some amounts of rainfall in some parts of the northern region. But I must admit that during the evenings, it's not easy despite the showers of rain that the region had recorded. And so you take areas like the Upper East and Upper West regions, that usually becomes even more hotter. There is this concern about how pregnant women and newborn babies are coping with this changing patterns of the weather and how it is impacting on their health. It is at the back of this that the University for Development Studies is embarking on a research to find out how these pregnant women and the newborns are coping, and health-related concerns that have been raised over the period, and how they will come out with some recommendations that will deal with the increasing changing in the weather patterns. The Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University for Development Studies and its partners have been commenting on the strategies they are going to use and what they'll be looking out for. But Kevin, let me quickly add that according to them, their preliminary investigations they have conducted in the Katsina, Nankana West and East districts show that the changing patterns of the weather is contributing to maternal and child mortalities. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
Excess heat we have these days is quite different from those days that there was no excess heat. They are saying that when a mother is pregnant, already is carrying already heavy weight, and then adding the heat that's having, it may give a woman stress, it may increase the blood pressure. So if you don't reduce this and find a way of reducing stress from a pregnant woman, the heat may also help the woman to have the child to have deformity. And then the impact is now to make sure that we reduce that heat on a pregnant woman with a child. So they'll give them some of the intervention to do that. Don't do this, don't do that. When you see the weather has reached this one, please relax. And that's the strategy they come to put in place to make sure that child and mother have better, condition of weather than them having issue when they're going for delivery.
Christopher Marco will leave it here. Chris is our Northern Region correspondent. That'll be all for Regional Hub.
Oh, too soon. The week is done, and our action here on News Central for this week is done as well. But you see Kemeni a lot later
on
this
Ghana
evening.
Tonight.
Yeah, and then this weekend, who are we having on Hot Issues?
Well, we're talking NATMO, particularly because the rains have set in. We are looking at the preparedness of this country for any eventualities, but more importantly, to prevent floods in our capital cities. So we're talking Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and places like that.
Right, so if you live in a flood-prone area, you should be listening to that conversation. Sunday at 2 p.m.,
yes.
You catch her this weekend. From all of us, many thanks for watching. I am Mawina.
It's been a fantastic week with